Welcome back. All right, some news of the day to talk about today. I decided to wait until after the waiver wire news came out before throwing this video together. And yeah, so coming out of last night's game between Montreal and Toronto, I think we were all curious to see what Department of Player Safety might do. And it sounds like most fans don't like this decision. They have fined Xhekaj for unsportsmanlike conduct on Cedric Pare. Of course, Pare being the one that injured Patrick Laine, so it was retribution, I should say, by Xhekaj. The fine is the maximum allowable under the CBA. It's not a ton of money for a hockey player, but for people who wanted to see some kind of suspension for Pare, that doesn't happen. The tricky part is, so with Cedric, right, he's never played a game in the NHL. He's 25 years of age. Highly unlikely he was going to make the roster for the Leafs anyways. So if the NHL did suspend Pare, if we go down that road, well, he's just going to get sent down to the minors. And obviously that suspension doesn't carry over to the AHL. Just like if you're suspended in the AHL, it's just in the AHL. So it's just one of those weird things where I understand people wanted to see more done. But in the case of Pare, unless they find him, I don't see how he's going to pay any price for this. But at any rate, hopefully Laine's not out that long. Hopefully it's not as bad as it looked. Montreal put Condotta and Gignac on waivers today as the waiver wire continues to fill up now as teams are trying to send players down to their AHL rosters because those training camps have to get started and they have to be ready to go as the AHL season will be starting soon as well. Kraft Hockeyville, of course, is tonight. It's between Ottawa and Pittsburgh. I'm leaning towards watching and reviewing that game. It is on TV. I won't have a problem finding it. And so, yeah, Kraft Hockeyville is tonight in Sudbury. It was going to be in Elliott Lake, but Elliott Lake doesn't have an arena that's going to work for that, which is part of the reason why you win Hockeyville. So you get that money in order to help build a new arena or fix one that you have. So it should be a fun game. A lot of Sens players and Pens players talking about how much they're looking forward to this. And so, yeah, if you're in Sudbury and you get a chance to watch this, enjoy it. It should be a lot of fun. Seamus Casey has made it. He made it onto the New Jersey Devils. That's the reason I'm wearing the jersey hat, because it's jersey and hat. But, yeah, he is headed to Prague with the team. It looks like Pesci's going to be left behind in North America for rehab purposes. At least that's seen as being likely. I haven't seen that confirmed as of yet. But Casey making the team's a good story. And this is definitely a New Jersey team that needed a story like this. I don't think it hurts with the changes they made to their personnel. I think there's some excitement around the Devils. I know they haven't had a great preseason, but the preseason does not matter. So, good on Casey for making it to the team. We'll see how many games he gets into and if he can stay up for the full season. Elias Lindholm is at practice for the Bruins today in a non-contact jersey. He was also on a line with Zacha as well as Pasternak. So there's a plan here for Lindholm to play a top-line role. I've talked about this before based on this past season. I don't know. I don't know how this is going to go. He had his struggles this past season, so maybe going to Boston will be the elixir for him. We'll see. Boston also waived McLaughlin today. So none of the players that are on waivers today are ones that I think are going to get taken because, again, we are still relatively early in the process. Calvin Pickard, during last night's game between the Oilers and Seattle, he exited after his own player, Philp, collided with him. Philp had a pretty good game, and it looks like he's making the Oilers' decisions difficult. Hoffman, of course, has been putting up points as well on a PTO. So the Oilers have some decisions to make, but it's a good decision to make. When you have more players who are NHL level than what you can employ, that's a good thing. So we'll see what the Oilers do, but Philp's trying to make it difficult for them. Jimmy Vesey of the Rangers is being evaluated for a lower body injury. Obviously, he is part of that bottom six. You don't want him to be out for any period of time. When it's a bottom six forward, it's obviously not as troubling as the top six forward being hurt. We'll see how long Vesey ends up being out. Good story here, and I normally don't cover ELCs being signed by guys who aren't first rounders because you can get a lot. But I wanted to talk about Ulrichsen working for and getting that ELC from the Vancouver Canucks. Ulrichsen has impressed from really throughout the summer and now into the preseason. He does not look out of place. So I'm hoping we get to see him down here in Abbotsford this year. I think it should be fun and good on Ulrichsen. This is why. You keep an eye on the young guys in the preseason and rookie tournaments and all that, and see who emerges as a player that should get that NHL contract. So Ulrichsen gets that, and everybody in Vancouver media seems quite happy because he worked for it, and they know that he worked for it. Waiver news on this side of the board: the Tampa Bay Lightning waive Pouliot as well as Paquette Bisson. Or Paquette Bisson. Either way, they're going down to the minors. The Flames waive Kirkland and Firk. Yes, Firk in training camp. I always root for him to make it to the NHL rosters because there's no vowels. It's kind of a fun name. You're not getting your money's worth if you get a name and number Firk jersey because you're only getting 3 letters. But anyways, kind of fun. It's just too bad he didn't make it to the Flames. He's a good goal scorer. He's got a good shot, though. I think down with the Wranglers, he'll do pretty well. The San Jose Sharks have been a bit shorthanded at practice. That's helped today by Eklund, Granlund, and Benning, all returning to practice. Eklund and Granlund are being counted on to be top 6 forwards. Eklund is a huge part of the future for the San Jose Sharks, so having them back at practice and working their way towards being back in the lineup is great news for San Jose. Waiver wire news down the rest of the board here. The LA Kings waive Walsh, Madden, Xhekaj, and Godin. So in the case of Madden, he's on waivers again. That's one of those careers that I follow because he was Vancouver property at one point. He just hasn't had that ability to crack an NHL roster as of yet. And at this point in time, you go from prospect to project. Once you're like 22, 23, all of a sudden you're a project. And then it gets more difficult to make it to an NHL roster. So all the best to him and really the guys who are on the waiver wire today, because there's a lot of guys in that category. The Minnesota Wild, they waive Raska, Crotty, and Ciccone. All of them on waivers. Sammy Walker's amongst the players they're sending down to the AHL. One thing to keep an eye on, too, is as we get closer to the regular season, you're not just sending guys down for AHL training camp, but you're not going to have those split squad games. You're going to want to narrow down who is or isn't going to be in the lineup and get those players who aren't going to be in the lineup anyways out. So Sammy Walker being sent down, I think Walker gets brought up at some point this year, gets into some games. The Chicago Blackhawks have waived Sanford as well as Cini. So both of those are players who played in the NHL before, but should have no problem getting through waivers. Murray, Hinostroza, and Bellows all being waived by the Nashville Predators. I am a Vinny Hinostroza fan. Totally understand why he's on waivers, and I think he probably clears. He's the one that maybe somebody takes, but again, it's a very, very slim maybe. The St. Louis Blues have waived Skinner, McGing, McEachern, as well as Laferriere. That is not the same Laferriere, of course, that plays for the Kings. Completely different player, so if you're a Kings fan and you hear Laferriere and you go, wait, what? Don't worry, everything's fine. And everybody who was on waivers yesterday cleared, because that generally is the way this works. Once we get up to October 7th and we get that huge waiver wire crush that we always get, that's when we start seeing some players that get picked up. Because those are the last-minute cuts by teams. We're like, this guy isn't quite there. So we'll probably see some guys get picked up. But let me know your thoughts. If you think anybody who's on the waiver wire today is going to get picked up, or that you'd like to see your team take some interest in, let me know in the comment section below. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I don't have any update on Line A at this point. I haven't seen anything, ensuring how long he's going to be out or guessing how long he's going to be out. So we shall see. But thank you guys so much for all your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.